Hey everyone, my name is Daryl. I am a less than amateur runner who likes running and running related things. Today I'll be talking about the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro 4, a shoe that has been out for a while and a shoe that I've owned for a few months, and a shoe that I currently have just over 50 miles in. And I guess the question is, why review a shoe that's been available for a while? And honestly, it gives me practice writing and editing. It also gives me a chance to talk about the shoes that carried me through the 2025 Chicago Marathon. Just because I didn't have a place to put this footage, I actually threw in some stuff from the Kofuzi Shakeout run from the Chicago Marathon. Anyways, before we get into the review, I want to be fully transparent with you. This is the shoe that I purchased on my own, and no one has any input or control over what I say. As always, the opinions you're about to hear are entirely my own. And I always want to say thank you for the people who have been watching my videos. I really do appreciate it. And if this is your first time watching, please consider subscribing for more running related content. Thank you. And with that said, let's go take this shoe out for a run. All right, so I took the Adidas Adios Pro 4 out for a 5-mile run using the Runna app. And if you're interested in a free 2-week trial, there is a code down below in the description. I'm currently not training for any specific races right now, but I am keeping things consistent because I do run a monthly virtual half marathon with the Global Run Club through Abbott. I use those races as extra entries into the world majors that I still haven't completed, which is Tokyo and Boston. I'll be running the Sydney Marathon this August for charity, and if you're interested, I'll also put a link in the description down below for that. If you have any questions about how that whole system works, feel free to drop a comment down below, and I'll be happy to explain it to you. Today's run was a classic Midwest winter day. It was cold, windy, but thankfully I picked one of the few days where the ground wasn't covered in snow or slush. Perfect for getting some miles in and actually feeling how the shoe performs without slipping around. I used the Runna app, as I mentioned before, so I had a 1.5 mile warm-up, followed by 1 mile at around 8:30 and another faster mile at around 7:50, and then one final cool down at 1.5. Overall, it was a very good run, and I enjoyed those faster paces in this particular shoe. All right, so the specs on the shoe, the Adios Pro 4 weighs in at just about 7 ounces for a men's size 9. And of course, once again, I didn't weigh the shoe before I ran in them, but I think the weight is right on track with what I've read about the shoe. It features a 6 millimeter drop, so you got 39 millimeters here in the heel, and then 33 millimeters up in the forefoot. Up top, the Adidas went with a light lock woven mesh material. I don't know if I can get it in focus here or not. The midsole does come with a full length version of the Light Strike Pro foam and features the Energy Rods 2.0. On the bottom of the shoe, the outsole is mostly covered with the light traction material, And up front, there's a small patch right here, the Continental rubber, which adds durability and reliable traction for those high wear areas. The fit for me is true to size, and it had a very nice, solid lockdown. All right, so the upper, starting with the upper, Adidas went with their Light Lock woven mesh. It's a super lightweight. It's super lightweight, sorry, and as mentioned before, it comes in at 7 ounces for a men's size 9, and you can really feel how light the shoe is when you put it on. There's minimal padding here around the tongue. I don't know if you can see that or not. And around the heel collar as well, as there's some padding right there. It feels like that was done on purpose to keep the weight the shoe weight as light as possible. Sorry. The lockdown on the shoe is excellent. I had no problems with the lacing system. And once they were set, my foot felt secure and comfortable even when the paces picked up. The heel stayed locked in. There was no slipping or unwanted movement. And it's exactly what you'd want on a race day shoe. That said, the fit is definitely on the snug side, which is enjoyable to me on race day. The forefoot is a little narrow, so as the run went on during the Chicago Marathon, I could feel that tight performance style fit even more so. So if your foot tends to swell or you prefer a roomier toe box in the shoe, that's something you might want to keep in mind. It's not the most breathable shoe that is out there. It's decent, but not like other shoes that I've run in. Earlier on when I was running the Chicago Marathon, it felt fine. But later on, especially as the marathon went on and the heat was rising, the shoe did feel a little warm for me. All right, moving down to the midsole of the shoe. This is really where the Adidas Adios Pro 4 stands out for me. Adidas uses their Light Strike Pro foam here, and while it shares the name with some other shoes that I own, this version of the Light Strike Pro is very soft. It's also paired with the energy rods that you can see right here instead of a carbon plate. And out on the run, this shoe just feels smooth and springy without ever feeling stiff or awkward underfoot. The foam really bounces back quickly. On my first run, the cushioning felt soft, but still responsive, and I noticed that as I put some miles on the shoe itself. It absorbs impact well. There's plenty of bounce when you pick things up. On the energy rods versus the carbon plate, I read an article with a quote from Stephen Handy, the vice president of design for Adidas Running, and he explained the energy rods run the length of the foot's metatarsal bones, mimicking the structure of the foot for a more natural gait and optimal energy return. With those, I have heard some stories that the Pro 4 has some weird clicking sounds coming from the energy rods, and people have actually reported that the rods have snapped when they've run. I personally haven't had any issues with that, but I'd be interested in reading some stats about it. Anyway, as the miles went on during the race or during the marathon, the midsole held up very nicely. It didn't feel flat or dead, and the ride stayed consistent even when my legs were starting to get tired. And that said, it's not the most stable setup out there. If your form starts to break down or you're moving really slow, you might notice a little bit of wobble through the midfoots. But at a steady or faster paces, the shoe feels much more dialed in and controlled. I did notice that later on in the marathon as my pace drastically slowed down. But overall, the midsole feels energetic, it feels protective, and it's really built for covering distance efficiently. It works best for runners who want a soft, bouncier ride. I'd be interested in taking this shoe out for a half marathon where I was trying to achieve a goal pace in the future. I might have to try that out. All right, finally moving down to the outsole, Adidas keeps things pretty simple, but it works for the shoe. A majority of the bottom is covered with their light traction rubber. It really grips the road well. I had plenty of traction during the marathon, especially through the water stations or the area where they had water spraying across the course to cool people down. I haven't really brought them out in the rain, but I'm sure it would hold up well over a wet road. In the front here, there is a small patch of Continental rubber, which helps those high wear areas when you're really pushing off. I think this spot gives it a little bit more durability. Overall, I really feel like this does what it's designed to do. It grips and feels smooth on the road. All right, wrapping things up, after spending some time in the Adios Pro 4, including running the Chicago Marathon, this shoe really does what it's designed to do. It feels fast, it feels efficient, and ready for race day. The lightweight upper keeps everything locked in, while the midsole gives you that smooth, springy ride that holds up late into longer runs. And the outsole here delivers some very reliable grip. I've also mixed things up this week. I've added some speed work into this shoe, and I feel like for me that's where things really felt like the shoe came alive to me, I guess you could say. When you start picking up that pace, the ride feels natural, it feels responsive, and the energy rods keep moving you forward without feeling overly stiff. It's a shoe that clearly prefers steady to faster efforts. Overall, this is a shoe that this isn't a shoe that I would grab for daily miles, but for races, speed work, and longer efforts where you want efficiency and responsiveness, it fits the bill really well. If you're looking for a lightweight marathon shoe that that feels fast, the Adios Pro 4 is definitely worth a look. All right, as far as pricing on the shoe, it looks like it's currently on sale for $200 US, the Adidas website. And I know I had picked this one up. It's kind of a pricier shoe. I think originally it was about $250 US. A friend of mine sent me a link where Adidas had this colorway on sale a while back, and I picked it up. And I was happy I did. I enjoy the color on this shoe. All right, you guys, thank you for watching and all that YouTube stuff here. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep watching for more running-related content. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, keep running strong and stay mustached.
Let's give it a good Chicago yo. Yo! What's going on?
Let's go. See ya.